I've got such a full stomach. I had such a good night last night, although now I've got my commute to work, which isn't too bad, to ride the twisty roads, and this time it's mostly downhill, so this little bike will be absolutely fine with that. Yeah, keep gaining speed. Fifth gear on this bike is completely useless unless you're going downhill or completely flat. Story time on how I came to be the owner of this lovely Suzuki Marauder. I had a Honda CBR at the time, a CBR 125. I was on liner plates and CVT, and the engine of that bike completely lost compression. Now, I'd already rebuilt the top end of that bike once, so when it came to it, I can't remember, I did like 25,000 miles on it after the rebuild, and then it completely lost compression. It wasn't the valves, it was definitely something to do with the piston, maybe melted rings or melted piston, unsure, but she wouldn't catch, she wouldn't start. And I had work the next day, and I needed a bike to get to work. My neighbour had this bike. It was her old partner's, he passed away, but she had this bike sat in her back garden for around 5 years. I'd always seen it. I knew that he loved it, and it had been sat there in the elements for 5 years since he passed. So I knocked on her door and I said, "What is happening with the bike in your back garden?" And she said, "I need it out the way." I said, "Okay, do you have a price in mind for it?" And she said for around £300. So I thought, that's fine. I hadn't ran in however long since he'd passed away, but I offered her £500 to take it as it is, because she is a wonderful woman. He was a really cool guy, so it'd almost be cheating her to give her £300, because I know it's worth more than that, even non-running. So I offered her £500, took a couple of tools with me, sat in her back garden for half an hour, having a chit chat with her and working on this bike. She walked in, she like went inside her house to, I don't know, do whatever she was doing. She must have been busy. And about 5 minutes later, I cleaned the carb and the bike ran. It just fired up like it had never been parked, which was incredible. She poked her head back out of her door and was like, "Oh, I haven't heard that sound in a long while." She had a smile on her face too, so I think she was happy to know that the bike is running. Well, it was really tough to get it out of her back garden. She had like, her fella had started building stuff in the back garden, but I guess he had no intentions of riding this bike again, because he almost like trapped it in with the way that he built the fence. But yeah, after a little bit of a struggle, managed to get the bike out, and she has been running ever since. I didn't change the fuel on it that day either. The fuel cap had actually seized shut, so I'm guessing that had sealed it somewhat and stopped the fuel from going bad, because the fuel looked perfectly fine when I did eventually pull the fuel line off and try to drain the tank. The fuel looked brand new, so it must have just sealed really well and not gone bad. Obviously I've done oil changes, changed the chain and sprocket, bled the brakes, changed the rear brake shoes and stuff like that, just to make sure it was ready for the MOT, or motor inspection, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, she never failed the MOT. There was no advisories, no nothing, and she has been running ever since. It has been actually a wonderful bike, and has helped me out a lot when the Kawasaki has decided to shit itself on me. I've always had a spare bike, whether it's to go pick up parts, or just while I have the other bike torn down, I can ride this one. It's obviously not the most powerful bike, but it gets the job done, gets me where I need to. It's really comfy. It's really comfy. I just did the rear suspension yesterday, gave it like, there's like little collars on it that you turn, stiffen the suspension. Yeah, I turned one of them yesterday, and it rides much more wonderful now. The rear end's not quite as squishy as it was before. Why is there traffic? Disgusting behaviour. Oh, yeah, it's weird. I don't recognise this in reverse. One annoying thing that has happened with this bike recently is I replaced the rear brake light sensor cable. So like actuated from the front, goes back to the sensor. And I came out and there's a little like collar on the end of it. Yesterday at work I had a look at it and the collar was gone. It was a brand new cable, like it's a all-in-one unit. It's just straight up replace everything. And yeah, the collar was gone, so the rear brake light wouldn't actuate. The old cable was old and wouldn't return itself because the amount of crap that was in it. Yeah, it was really annoying that I put a brand new cable on it. It wasn't expensive, it was just more an annoyance. I just looked at it and it was gone. The little metal piece that connects at the end to where the spring is. Is this a girl from work? I don't really want to be an asshole and overtake. Although she does drive pretty fast, so I'll take it.